Good morning. Thank you for being here. Just wrapped up practice. Actually went indoors today. Trying to get turn up the temperatures a little bit. You know, obviously going to Tucson. It's about 70, 75 degrees over there. So made it a little bit hotter than that inside. And we hadn't gone inside. Really haven't gone inside since I believe one time in the spring. So it's a good change of pace in there. But really practice fast, practice well. I think we message to each other as players, as coaches, is to understand that the teams that handle the grind and the discomforts of October, November, and all the things that go with it, will teams that will have the best chance down the stretch to be successful. So, but all focus has been on going forward and improving, and so far, really, really good practices for the week.
Coach, do you have any different defensive packages for those different cornerbacks, or is it all the same regardless?
Well, it's a little bit of both. You have to account for a couple things, and even when you do, they can extend plays. And extending plays, the best defense for that is making sure that you're really athletic and you go get somebody on the ground, but at the same time having the discipline to stay with your assignment. But you have to, and I think everybody in college football now has to have two sets of defenses: a base defense, your nickel defense, and of course your dime packages that go with that. And to combat, Arizona's offense, you have to be good at both, because they are good at using both quarterbacks.
With different quarterbacks, or running backs seem to be really, really good and put up good numbers.
Yes. The most underrated players in the conference, in my opinion. Those guys have, especially the last few weeks, they've really turned it on offensively. And the offensive line is blocking it really well. The young guys that have really become a cohesive unit, they knock you off the ball, they stay and they sustain their blocks. They play with really good technique, and hats off to them there. A lot of credit goes to them for the way that they are running the football. They're doing a really good job.
The challenge for your defense going from Washington to Washington State to Arizona. I mean, are there three more different offenses in this conference? I wonder?
Well, that's the beauty of the Pac-12. Again, that's what's kind of neat, that we're getting more and more exposure and visibility, is the brand of football out here, the different kinds of schemes that you see both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Not to mention a lot of the special team stuff you see is really unique. So it's a challenge, and that's why it's so important in the springtime and the off season to establish your base rules, because everything you do is off of your base rules. And whatever you do, because the coach aren't going to be able to be on the field, there's going to be something that shows up on game day that you just haven't seen or haven't had a chance to prepare for. You have to be able to trust your rules, and that's when it will kick in.
You know if you'll have Lana this week?
One more time.
Do you know if Lana will play?
Feel good about it.
What about Fowler? Do you expect him to go? And what's Carlberg done kind of, when he comes in there to fill in when you need him?
What has he done?
Yeah, just kind of what have you seen from him?
Carlberg, he's played really well. And you've seen, the moments he has been in there. I know he got cut short during the Washington game, but throughout the course of the year, the big fourth down stop early in the season, his play in Washington, even last week, he just gets better and better. Uses his hands really well, is able to get off blocks, is athletic. So he's a guy that you could put in your base front to control, be a two-gapper, and at the same time line him up as a shade or a half-gap guy and go ahead and, cause some penetration and disrupt the offense. So overall, he's just been a really productive player.
You think Fowler will be able to go?
You know what, 50-50. 50-50.
Verdict on Isaac yet on his health?
Isaac hurt his shoulder. We're gonna sit him at the very least a couple of weeks. We had some tests run on him. We thought he'd be okay, but we're not going to be able to have him.
Did Panay have a procedure? Because he put up a picture from the hospital.
Yeah,
sure what time that
though some of the injury stuff, we don't disclose everything, but
well,
let's just say he's out. Okay.
Historically, Arkansas was the bottom of the penalty counts, but recently the past weeks have been at the top of the conference.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to, and why do you think that is so important?
It's been a big point of emphasis. It's been all about discipline, and the discipline starts with everything you do in your daily life, and it starts with academics and the way you conduct yourself and show up, and that's been a huge point of emphasis of the culture. We felt that if we could get that done, that would coincide with the elimination of a lot of penalties. It would result in better play, more disciplined play, and so far we've seen some pretty good results. And we could do even better. I mean, we've seen some that's like, wow, we could have maybe walked away out of that game with maybe one penalty or zero penalties. So we got to stay hungry. We got to stay on it. We got to continue to emphasize it. We have officials out here every single day in practice. That's been the biggest difference. And they whip those flags right at you. They're pretty wicked guys, but they've helped us out a lot.
And what does it mean to be at the top now, or historically they've been at the bottom?
I don't like to judge a book till we go through the last chapter. It's almost like there's a lot of progress in so many areas, but we're nowhere near where we want to be yet. And there are steps to go with it, some painful, some exciting as can be, but you can't skip them, and you've got to grind at it, and it never stops. It's like, you know, we met with the coaches yesterday, and it's like, got to hit the restart button every day. There's no magic formula to this. There's no hocus pocus. We're not based or founded on any trickery or false enthusiasm or energy. We grind at it to build it the right way, because it's the only way to build it to last. We believe in it. That's our deal. So it's really helping out. It's really helping out and showing up in all the stuff you see across campus and academics. So all these things are coming together. That in turn leads to better play and more pride.
Second week now with Calvin on the left, Brady on the right. Does that group continue to get more comfortable working together?
But we played a lot of guys this week too. I mean, we've thrown, we've thrown George Moore in there to play some right. We've thrown Throckmorton to play some guard. We've thrown Stephen Jones to play some left tackle. Forsyth and Patasi. We're getting a look at everybody, because it's that time of year, right, where you just don't know what's going to happen, and you have to have a crisis plan. You know, you're always going, okay, if this guy goes down, he goes in. If so-and-so goes down, he's replaced by so-and-so. But what if it really gets bad? And so we're working all those combinations, and again, they have to become cohesive, even if it be on the run, but we're working them all.
What have you seen from their JUCO transfer on the D-line, who won there last year, 52? I mean, he's kind of a large guy for an edge, but can also obviously play nose at 330-some-odd.
We're familiar with him. His brother's on our team. You know, that's PJ. We have DJ Johnson, ironically, right? But he is a large human being, and you're right. They put him on the edge as well, so there are plays, you know, all those split zone plays where the tight end slides back. I mean, the one play against USC, he just about knocked out the guy. You know, really powerful, explosive guy. When they put him in the middle, centers have had a real tough time getting movement on him or getting their half play side on him. He's made a tremendous impact for them. They list him at 330. He's about that. He's all a 6'4 plus. So he's a really good football player and a guy he's made a lot of plays for him. We have to do a good job at the line of scrimmage against him.
During fall camp, you said guys on the developmental squad during the middle of the year would probably work their way up. Seems like Justin Collins is a guy that's working with the second team. At least we're able to watch practice. Andrew Johnson's another one on the defensive side. Are those two guys close to finding their way on 23?
They are, and I think throw Stephen Jones in that mix as well. Throw George Moore in that mix. Who else? Khalif plays a lot on special teams. He's getting more reps as well. Sampson, who's been playing all year, he's getting a bunch of more reps. There's a significant amount of guys. I'm trying to think who else. You mentioned Andrew Fowler, right? Sione has really come on. You're going to see a lot of work out of him. So there's about 6, 7, 8 guys that we see not only playing in this game, but more so going forward also.